5 to 12. Did you see that? Did you see that at the end? What happened?
Just an extraordinary moment. You're watching live television. Chilean authorities not only conducting a rescue operation, but producing a videotaped rescue operation with cameras. They are in control. The Chilean authorities are in control of the cameras. We are not. They have this whole thing wired. The reaction in the nearby town of Copiapo, clearly excited, watching every single moment of this as we are and folks are around the world. A lot of tears, a lot of excitement. We're not sure how long it's going to take. Gary Tuckman's at the scene. Gary Carl had said that it took about half the time they thought. It took about 10 minutes for the rescuer, Manuel Gonzalez, to go down. Should it only take about 10 minutes for Florencio Avalos to be the first man brought up?
Anderson, we've been told it should take about 15 to 17 minutes for him to be brought up, but the wheel seems to be moving quicker than the wheel when they went down to get the miners. What's amazing, Anderson, is this. This is the ultimate live shot. I've got to tell you, this reminds me of when I was 8 years old watching Neil Armstrong step on the moon for the first time. That's the kind of awe that we have here. The irony is that we are the closest civilians to the rescue site right now. Me and about 175 of my colleagues from 39 countries who are standing here right now. But we see less than you and the viewers do because we don't have TV monitors. So we are just staring at this wheel. And when the wheel started turning the other way, when the rescuer went down, people started cheering. And now when the wheel started turning this way, people started cheering again. It's a long walk to the monitors to watch this, and a lot of the journalists here are walking to see this because it's such extraordinary television, and we just can't wait for this first man to get up about 13 minutes from now, we estimate.
And Dennis Dell joining us as well. Dennis, they are monitoring now the man we believe to be Florencio Avalos, who is, we were told, the man who would be first selected. He was clearly ready to go. He was clearly dressed, if in fact it was Mr. Avalos. Explain, you've been in one of these capsules. Explain what it's like as you are ascending through the ground.
Well, you feel helpless. Like I say, you're standing inside of a confined space where you can't really move your arms above your head or anything. You have to keep them down at your side. You can't bend over. And you're at the will and mercy of the hoist operator. So, you know, you have a lot of time that you're by yourself and you have to think positive. You have to try to keep your mind occupied, not think of anything on the bad side, but try to keep on the positive side. So this is going to be a long, lonely trip, but I'm sure his heart's going 100 miles an hour. He's probably ecstatic. He can't wait to be reunited with his family and friends. There's just probably all kind of emotions that's going through him right now.
No doubt.
As he goes from on this trip. Yep.
Dr. Kim Manning from Emory University is also joining us. Dr. Manning, as this man is being brought up, he's moving from one temperature zone, about 80 to 90 degrees, to what is clearly very cold on the surface. What kind of difficulties does that entail? Obviously, he's been given a sweater, he's been given clothing to deal with it, and water-resistant clothing because there is water in this shaft.
Absolutely. Well, they've prepared adequately, and really the biggest issues that we would face would be if this individual was not prepared with the proper clothing and gear, and he has been. When someone goes from one extreme temperature to very, very cold temperatures, certainly cold injury and hypothermia can be a very serious medical issue, but in this instance, I don't think that's something we'd really have to worry about. They've really taken adequate precautions.
And he's clearly been selected because he is supposed to be in good shape. You just saw a moment ago family members of Florencio Avalos being brought to the site. 3 family members were told of each of these miners will be allowed to go and actually greet them and spend some time with them. And then each of these miners is going to be brought for medical treatment, for medical observation. But they're family members of the miner who is being brought up as we speak. We are just now past the top of the hour. If you are just joining us, we are bringing you history tonight. From Chile, we're one of 33 trapped miners. Florencio Avalos, we believe, is now inside this rescue pod, heading above ground. These images just moments ago taken as the pod actually left the mine. This was the first contact these miners had had. You see they broke out in applause. Clearly people above ground broke out into applause as well. The rescue pod departing on its ascent, the first ascent of 33 ascents bringing out each of these miners. We are, of course, bringing this to you live from up above and down below. Gary Tuckman's on the scene, so is Carl Penhall. We have doctors and mining experts all watching this as well. A truly remarkable evening, an exciting night. Dr. Manning, once this miner gets on site, gets up onto the surface, and is able to interact with their family, what sort of medical tests are they going to be undergoing over the next several days?
Right. So after they've done the initial survey and they've made sure that the airway and breathing and circulation are intact, the next thing they'll be doing is doing really just standard testing in terms of body chemistries, things like the sodium level, potassium level. Of course, we talked about kidney function a little bit earlier. We'd also like to look at the liver function. Cardiac examinations and cardiac laboratory values would be helpful. Also, EKG would be helpful, particularly in those individuals who have underlying medical problems. But a huge, huge thing is going to be a psychiatric evaluation. These are remarkable individuals who have survived the unthinkable. So we know that we already are dealing with an entire different group of people in terms of their ability to survive. But even if some of them survive or are able to get past those physical complications, it's going to be very difficult to get past those psychiatric things such as post-traumatic stress disorder, panic attacks, and of course the depression that comes with the tremendous lifestyle change that they'll be facing.
Or not only have been away from their families for this amount of time, they are emerging as heroes in Chile. No doubt they're going to be descended on by local reporters, by people who want to talk to them, get their stories. That's going to have impact. Obviously, there you see family members waiting for this man. It has been 7 minutes now since Florencio Avalos departed from the mine. We believe it could be anywhere from 12 to 16 to 17 minutes for him to get up here, maybe as little as 10, because it took about 10 for the rescuer, Manuel Gonzalez, to go down. Carl Penhall is also now standing by at Camp Home, where the miners' families have been keeping vigil. Carl, we're seeing at least, I can tell, at least 2 family members, maybe there's a third, of this first miner. They have been brought in anticipation of him coming. Carl, do you have a sense of how far away the Phoenix capsule is?
I believe that I believe that the capsule is now no more than 2.5 minutes away, judging by the time that the rescuer took to get down. This capsule is really moving quite fast. It seems to be going quite smoothly. Technically speaking, the technician said it would take longer for the capsule to get down to the mine than it would to extract it from the mine back to the surface. We now have, on this current ascent, Florencio Avalos stepped into the Phoenix 2 capsule 8 minutes and 31, 32, 33 seconds ago now. So I would expect to see Phoenix 2 rising to the surface, bringing the first miner back to life in just 1.5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes from now. And if you look at this picture,